Because if Trump got away with it, why not Milei? And I mean, he might not have orchestrated everything. Of course, he was in cahoots with someone. Someone probably clicked the button, launched the token, and then said, hey, why don't you tweet about it? But they knew they could get away with something.
Well, I think the scary thing is if the meme coin thing is what brings down Milei, and he's like, the anti-corruption guy, wants to clean up Argentina, make Argentina great again. And I think he's got a lot of support from like center to right-leaning folks. But if it all comes crumbling down because of a shit coin,
Ethan Davis brought him down.
Welcome back to Bitcoin.com's Token Narratives, where we discuss the biggest stories shaping the Bitcoin and cryptoverse. My name is Graham Stone, Bitcoin.com marketing operations lead and high priest of the Temple of Hopium. I'm joined as usual by Bitcoin.com CEO and BTC-Fi decentralized in name-only whistleblower, Corbin Fraser.
We all knew.
News and research. We all knew. Yeah. Excuse me. News and research gigabrain David Sensel is on a plane back from Consensus Hong Kong right now, so he can't make it this week. Instead, we've got friend of the pod and doxed shadowy supercoder Andrei Terentiev. Welcome back, sir.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me again.
Yes, cheers. Thanks for coming. And last but not least, we are joined by Bitcoin.com growth lead and meme coin trench warrior, Sal Salamat.
Glad to be back, Graham.
Welcome back, sir. All right, let's get right into it. Starting off with the scandal of the week, Libra. So I'll just give a very brief overview of the events surrounding the Libra token, then we'll go around the horn here, getting everyone's opinion on it. So to recap, on Valentine's Day a week ago, we had Argentine President Javier Milei posted on X a brief message about Libra token with a link to the website and a contract address. The website described how Libra would be used to fund Argentine entrepreneurs and small businesses. The token pumped within hours to a valuation of over $4 billion, but then Milei walked things back, deleting his post and attempting to disassociate himself from the token. The token price immediately collapsed, and that's when things got really interesting. As the week progressed, we were treated to a kind of expose on the behind the scenes of meme coin launches. Now, I think everyone who's been paying attention to meme coins in the last few months knew that there was a lot of shady business going on behind the scenes, but I think this week the mask really came off, revealing just how ugly this beast really is. So some revelations include KOLs are getting advanced notification of launches and special deals in exchange for shilling it to their communities. All right, we all knew that, but it really came out this week. The other big revelation, I think, is that so-called market makers are actually just sniping the supply of these tokens, then dumping it as retail comes in.
We're market making.
Yeah. And, the last thing I think is that actually there may be some respected infrastructure businesses in on the game here. Like maybe Meteora, Dex, we can dive into that a bit. But the patsy is this guy, Hayden Davis. We can talk more about him, but he's probably he's going down here, but he's probably not the only one on this game. So I'll stop there. To start off, are there any other important details I missed on the Libra scandal?
Well, did you guys get in on this Libra scam, or what was the latest?
Yeah.
too late, you know, everything happens like it's already over. The whole like cycle is done in 1 hour. It's like then you hear about it.
Yeah, I'm very thankful. I think I was having like breakfast with family or something when I heard about it. I was like, nah, I don't need to touch that one. I'll check in on it later. And by the time I looked again, it was completely annihilated. I was like, exactly. I didn't touch that one, but
you kind of get desensitized.
I think I saw it at. Yeah, exactly. I think I saw it at 3 billion. So, you know, technically I could have still made a bit, but no.
Yeah, these are hot potatoes you don't always want to touch, you know? I think the meme game, if you've lost some money on these things, you start realizing that it's very much it's a musical chairs, you know? Yeah. There's not enough chairs by the end for everyone to sit down. People are gonna lose, and you don't want to be the loser. And best way to not lose is don't play.
Like everybody knew that this was kind of going on, but also everyone is like up in arms of like, how is this going on? It's like this like weird dichotomy right now happening.
Well,
I think if you're in crypto,
jump in.
Yeah, Corbin, you saying?
Well, I was just saying, I think there was like a lot of people that genuinely are kind of new to the space. You got like the Dave Portnoys that are kind of like, kind of somewhat crypto aware, but maybe not crypto native. And they're like, I don't know, man, it seems like a fair game to me. And then they are slowly unpeeling the onion and realizing that there's kind of a rotten core at the end of these meme coins. And it's kind of a rude awakening for a lot of folks that maybe aren't aware or maybe haven't been in the space long enough or haven't lost enough money, you know, buying all of the different garbage cycles that there have been in this meme coin era of like this weird cycle. So,
yeah, celebrity rugs aren't anything new. We've had weekly rugs since Trump Millennia coin launched, and Javier Milei has done what he's done with the Argentina coin. But, you know, anyone who's in crypto kind of has this short attention span where we behave like, oh my God, like they got away with 100 million, but they seem to forget like, hey, you know, the same thing happened last week.
It's interesting you mentioned Portnoy. He's like the exposer in chief now. Corbin is just minting new meme coins every day and saying, "I'm going to dump them just to prove how rotten this whole thing is." People are still buying.
I kind of like the fact that he's kind of the he's playing like the everyman. You know, he's the everyman character in this weird story, but at the same time, he's also participating in some of the chaos and the shit. So it's kind of like. I don't know. There were some tweets I was reading that maybe he's going to be getting in trouble, or maybe already is. But I don't know. It's fun to watch. It's like it's drama theater that I would gladly sit in on. But I'm glad that my bags are not deployed into an index of memes right now because I'm feeling kind of bearish on memes. I think the cycle has maybe had enough, but I could be wrong.
Yes. My question is, because this goes back to like what we talked about, is like it's still very unclear to me, like how much was Milei actually involved in any of this? Because I think when we talked like a couple of weeks ago about like Trump coin, it was like I think David was saying like, oh, kind of hoping that they would do something cool with it, and I was like, I think he probably just gave his name to it and like that's it, and then he didn't even think about it afterwards. So it's like still the question is like. How is Milei actually doing anything in this?
One explanation that I heard about this that made sense to me was that, you know, people around Milei sort of let him know about this thing. Like, okay, we got this crypto thing. It's, you know, it's good for Argentinian entrepreneurs. Like, give us a post, right? And he trusts these people. He's like, yeah. Like, sure, that's positive, right? That's going to help out.
There's got to be a financial angle in there, right? You're not going to just post. You're not going to just put your name on something, or even just give a tweet out. Especially if you're in that like caliber of, I don't know, running a whole country. You'd probably be like, "What's in it for me?" Or at minimum, like, can I guarantee I'm going to be like protected and safe if I publish this thing? But that's how I would think. But maybe some of these like boomer politicians are just like. Kind of they're non-crypto natives, and maybe they're kind of seeing this as like, oh, blockchain technology. I'm into that. I like supporting tech, big tech. I love that stuff. Let's cover this.
There's a bit of plausible deniability to it because if Trump got away with it, why not Milei? And I mean, he might not have orchestrated everything. Of course, he was in cahoots with someone. Someone probably clicked the button, launched the token, and then said, hey, why don't you tweet about it? But they knew they could get away with something.
Well, I think the scary thing is if the meme coin thing is what brings down Milei, and he's like, the anti-corruption guy wants to clean up Argentina, make Argentina great again. And I think he's got a lot of support from like center to right-leaning folks. But if it all comes crumbling down because of a shit coin,
Eden Davis brought him down.
Yeah.
Okay, well, people have been asking what. So I think you guys mentioned, Corbin, you mentioned you think that this probably is kind of the end of meme coins for the time being, a little bit. Would like to hear everyone else's opinion on that, but also, what does it mean for Solana? Obviously, meme coins Solana's associated with meme coins. Looks like you're having some of the key infrastructure providers in Solana actually implicated here. Is this bearish for Solana? And yeah, is this bearish for meme coins in general? Is this the end of meme coins?
Yeah, I think meme coins for sure, at least like for a while. Things need to cool down. Like now it's kind of like the cat's out of the bag. I think somebody, I forget who it was, put a really good post together. It was like the whole value proposition of meme coins was that you could get in on a fair launch compared to like the VC backed coins that were launched at like a very high valuation, and you kind of got like scammed by buying like their bags. Like, so that's like the whole value prop. Well, that value prop is now like completely blown away because actually there's this whole new sophisticated insider ring, just different from the old sophisticated insider ring. So like the value proposition then is gone. So I think there's still like the community aspect and like natural meme coins that can probably still like make it, but like as a meme coin factory or something, I feel like it's gonna settle down quite a bit now.
Well, this I kind of went even a step further during all of this because I felt the market exhaustion. I felt myself just being like, this is everything's become a little bit of a clown show. So yeah, I saw that as like, okay, if memes are dead, I think Solana's cooked. Not completely cooked. Maybe it'll regroup and come back, but I'm out of my Solana position. I said I'm no need to hold this thing. If meme coins are dead for a bit and we're in this weird like Aya Sauron's going to be looking at Solana and all of that stuff, it doesn't make sense for me to hold a lot of Solana. So I ended up saying like, all right, I'm de-risking myself from that position.
Utility is back, baby.
Seems like it. I mean, like it'd be different if Solana had a lot more DeFi tools, but like they haven't really built that as part of their culture. Their culture is meme coins, pump fun, silliness, which is cool. It was cool for a while, but maybe, maybe Vitalik has been proven right here, where he was like, we just didn't really promote the gambling aspect as much as some of the other chains. And
okay, that's the real question.
Well, I think
did you rotate back into ETH?
I did not know. Of course not. No, I'm just hanging in stables right now.
I think there's an argument, Corbin, to be made that the reason meme coins are on Solana is not because Solana was promoting meme coins. It's because it was the best chain, and meme coins were the thing that was hot. The trading was happening on Solana, so Solana benefited from that. Now, let's say something else pops up here, the next use case, meta, whatever it is. I mean, you could argue that, yeah, it's still going to be likely to be Solana that it gets launched on. I think we saw some stats a few months ago saying that the number of devs building on Solana has now outpaced Ethereum. I think you still have like a 40% of the fees, the REV of the entire space is still being generated on Solana. So you could make the argument that it's not necessarily cooked.
A lot of tech is being built in the trenches, and I just wanted to quickly share my screen because I came across this tweet and about this whole argument of what Solana and the meme trenches have contributed to the wider cryptocurrency space. I think this perfectly sums things up.
Bad for wealth, good for education.
Because you can't deny things like bubble maps, wallet tracking, they weren't as sophisticated as they are with the Solana trenches as compared to pancake swap days, for instance. So the system was more or less the same. Like you get onto a dApp and you start swapping and you learn about how the swaps work, when a coin migrates through another ecosystem and whether it's good to trade. So the tokenomics, the fundamentals are there, but a lot of people are coming out wiser, although they're a bit poorer, is how I would put it.
So I kind of have a thought on the next evolution of meme coins. So I think what the pumped out fund guys did really good was like the whole bonding curve thing is very interesting, where you can like bootstrap a token. But obviously the issue is the rug, right? So where somebody gets like a big supply. So I think there will be. I think the next set of tokens will probably still have this like fair launch mechanism, but I think instead of the devs trying to get a huge supply, they'll try and bake in the trading fees into the token. So then you can just make money off like the trading fees, because that's what they did in virtuals. And I think that's actually been like very successful from what I've seen, where like it kind of like reduces the likelihood of the dev rugging, because it's like, okay, well, I can just make money on the trading fees. If I rug, the trading is going to go to zero. So it'd be interesting to see if that's like a new token meta of like, okay, now we're just going to make money on the trading fees rather than selling the tokens. Because I think that was like the big question is like, okay, so when is it ethical to sell my tokens? I've launched this thing and I have like 10% of the supply. When can I sell? Can I never sell? Am I allowed to sell at a certain market cap? Like, what do I do? I want to make some money off this thing at some point. So that's like, it's almost like ethical questions still need to be answered around like token launches.
Yeah, I like that. I do think that the next wave here is going to see some change in the way these meme coin launches are structured, and I like that idea.
So we saw some of this transpire a little bit earlier on Ethereum and some of the EVM chains as well, where there was prior to this Solana meme season, there were a lot of meme coins being launched on Ethereum and EVM chains and things like that. And what we did see is like eventually some of them, primarily utilitarian based token launches, were using like liquidity bootstrapping pools from like Balancer and like Dutch auctions and like they were trying to find different like fairer ways to launch liquidity and launch tokens. So I think those like liquidity balancer pools were interesting, but they didn't really hit major public market fit relative to like pumped up fund, which I think just made it a lot easier and a lot less complicated to understand. But I suspect that, yeah, there's got to be some improvements to this process in order to find a fairer way forward if we're going to continue to go down just launching collectibles and, Pepe 2025 or whatever it's going to be.
All right. So in the crypto realm, sentiment continues to be pretty bearish. Does anyone here see any new metas emerging or catalysts to revive the whole crypto half of the Bitcoin and crypto space?
Quantum computing coins, maybe.
Do you mean excluding BTC, Graham? Or
yes, exactly. So let's talk about BTC next. But before we do that, I wonder if any of you are seeing if I have any ideas of if it's not meme coins in crypto, what is it going to be? What's next?
I mean, I still think that there's something about like the AI and the agents thing that's also kind of like semi-dead right now, along with meme coins. But I still feel like that's kind of the next utilitarian type thing where you just see more like automations on trading bots and DeFi strategies kind of generated through the AI. So I'm still kind of bullish on that. But outside of that, not really. Curious to hear everyone else's thoughts.
I mean, as of last night, the latest thing that I saw launch was the Kaito airdrop, which is currently, Kaito, I think, is around a $1 billion market cap. It's on base. And you could dumb it down as it's basically like it's a website that tracks tweets and you got an airdrop for it. So $1 billion tweet tracker DApp. I don't know, man. Like there's still some like dumb shit in the market. And I don't know if that's the thing. I don't know if AI agents is the thing. I don't know if meme coins are the thing, but like it is very nice to just know that Bitcoin's doing its thing and it's kind of boring is fine. Nothing wrong with boring right now. I think it's good to still have the experimental trenches. That's probably where the big gains are, but it's also where you're most likely to lose all your money. But if we can find some new meta, I think everyone's open for it. But I think there's got to be like a period of regroup right now.
Yeah, on the topic of utility that you guys brought up and people being sick of being rugged by memes, there could be a case there because there's all this talk about quantum computing and Microsoft's posted an update lately. So I don't know if that might dovetail with an existing meta called DePIN. So with DePIN airdrops, projects like Grass Token get users to contribute their processing power for airdrops. And, the longer you participate, the bigger the airdrops. I don't know if people will start launching utility tokens based on this quantum narrative because there could be actual technology involved, but yeah, who's to say, right? That it's not going to be a run.
Well, I think another thing is we have to start seeing is more developer incentives for getting more building back onto some other chains. Like, I really like what Sonic is doing right now with like them paying out some of the. I think it's like 80%. I could be wrong, but like some of the gas fees are actually going to the DApp developers. So you launch a DApp on their chain, and as if your DApp takes off and does a lot of gas and does a lot of on-chain activity, you not only benefit from say whatever fees you bake into your protocol, but you also actually get a portion of the gas that your DApp is contributing to the overall network. I think there's like going to be some areas to really attract the developers and the builders. And I think most of the meme coiners have the technical, well, maybe not all of them. There's a lot of crappy like dev, just running a copy paste kind of token deployment. But I suspect the ones that are devs worth their salt are probably also more curious about building actual utility and actual use cases and coming up with like, I don't know, fun things to do with crypto beyond just launching JPEGs and launching, silly, fun memes.
Speaking of Sonic, by the way, if I think about like what could be a next speculative boom, I know that Karanye or whatever is working on on-chain credit scoring. So what that really unlocks is unsecured, lending, basically, right? So now kind of one semi-limiting factor of speculation is when you borrow on Aave, you need to provide some collateral that can get liquidated. If you go into having
so it's
no
not
collateral,
capital efficient.
Yeah. I mean, if you just go, somehow you've built a really good credit score, and then you just say, you know what, I want $1 million to go long on whatever. That could be the next speculative bubble, I guess, if that ever materializes.
Yeah, I like that. You could get more liquidity in the system that way, for sure. I think another thing that we might see happening, and I think this will take a long time, and also it's kind of boring, but like as we get clearer regulation and maybe there's a path for launching a cryptocurrency that is actually like a security, then we might actually get crypto projects that where the value generated by the business, whatever it is, actually accrues to the token and it's all legit. And that could unleash a lot of innovation.
And that was kind of the dream of the 2017 bubble that just got like crushed by regulation, right? Where it's like, and that's why everyone had to like find their own hacky way of being like, well, we're gonna burn, or it's a protocol revenue, or like all these
and
things.
The result is that even projects that actually did have utility were kind of just memes because the value of the business didn't really accrue to the token itself. Like they weren't really connected. So everything was just kind of a meme.
No, that'd be great. I think the potential downside is then you find out like, a lot of these businesses don't make very much, if any, money to justify a high valuation.
You actually have to have a functional business for that to work. But long term, that's certainly bullish.
I guess question for you guys: what protocols or crypto projects would you say appear to be functional businesses?
Yeah, like certain DEXs.
Yeah, for sure, any of the decentralized exchanges. I think like the lending platforms. A lot of like pump that fund is a very functioning business. So I think there's quite a few out there, and maybe there'd be more if there was like an F for it.
Yep, and in the DePIN realm, I think crypto is quite powerful in that it can enable. The incentives inherent to cryptocurrencies can create the network effects needed for decentralized physical infrastructure networks. So it has a potential to like disrupt even like telecom systems, like what we're seeing a little bit with Helium, although it's just getting off the ground. But
and one more thing, blockchain application that won't pump any bags, but I think would be actually like really good. I think Musk even talked about it. It was like if you could get government spending on chain, like I think Sal, you were mentioning this about the education and like the bubble maps and like where is all the money going, like especially for like government spending and this kind of thing. I think that would be like huge, right? Where now you can really start tracking where did all the U.S. aid money go, or like whatever. I think that's just like an application that it's more like a social application that really needs to be built, but it needs like more of a, I don't know. The current administration is more like politically motivated to actually do that kind of thing, which is cool to see.
Yeah, just needs implementation.
Well, I think then it becomes this other pissing match where what chain does it go on? Because you're going to have some people surrounding the administration saying, you can't do it on XRP. You can't do it on Bitcoin. You got to use this chain. Use Cardano or, something like that. And then it ends up being this new, all right, they're all fighting over what chain to go on and where to store it. Where's the data availability layer? Who's paying the fees? I don't know, man. I agree it'd be cool. I just, I don't know if we're organized. I don't know if anyone's organized enough to do that or like bold enough to just say, we're picking one and we're doing that. Especially just given there's like so many cooks in the kitchen related to the crypto portion of the administration, it seems.
All right. So I think everyone's in agreement that we're kind of in a transition point here for the crypto side of Bitcoin and crypto. But on the Bitcoin side of Bitcoin and crypto, people have been talking about, okay, is like the fundamentals are looking good. Is Bitcoin in a super cycle? So that's the question I want to ask you guys. But before I do that, just a few little bullish points here from the last week or so. So it came out that the state of Wisconsin announced they're holding over $300 million in BTC in an ETF. Abu Dhabi revealed they hold over 400 million. I saw some controversy around that actual number, but anyway, that was the headline number. Paul Tudor Jones' hedge fund's largest position, according to recent 13F filings, is Bitcoin. Then you have Bitcoin proxy public companies like MicroStrategy, now Strategy, popping up all over the world. So like in Japan, there's MetaPlanet. In Hong Kong, there's one, I think it's called Boya Interactive, and another one that just launched in Hong Kong called HK Asia. which just bought its first Bitcoin. You got, I think it's Genius Group in Singapore. And then, these are popping up all over the place. The idea is basically to unlock pools of liquidity in the traditional markets that haven't been able to allocate to Bitcoin. And if people want exposure to Bitcoin with those pools of capital, they can do it through these companies which hold Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And then, of course, we have the Bitcoin strategic reserve stuff. We got, I think, 15, 20 states now in various stages of trying to get Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So a lot of bullish fundamentals in the Bitcoin realm. And my question to the people here is Bitcoin in a super cycle where everything is not? Or is it time for Bitcoin to finally have a correction? What is your gut tell you, gentlemen?
It's basically had the decoupling from the alt market already. Like I think I saw some chart where like the past year, like Bitcoin is going up and alt market is like flat or down even now. So it seems like I don't see correction yet. It's still like that. Like it feels too quiet, you know, like meme coin mania was like the top of meme coins, right? Where everybody's just like, we got to buy this. We have Javier Milei involved, like this wacky stuff going on. Bitcoin doesn't feel like that, right? It feels like kind of slow, boring. Nothing's really going on. So I don't see like a crash on the horizon. So still very bullish, I guess. Like I don't see it going the way of other cryptos. That's my take.
Nice. Sal, Corbin, any thoughts?
I'm still kind of buying
like
these
more
corrections
ETFs to me.
What happened there?
You jump in, Sal.
No, sorry. We went at the same time. I just wanted to say, it just seems like more ETFs popping up to me.
Yep.
Everybody's buying ETFs. No more real Bitcoin.
I saw even Plan B, that guy, kind of Bitcoin advocate
chartist.
with the chartist. Yes, exactly. The news this week was that he is not holding on-chain Bitcoin anymore. He's switched over to ETF Bitcoin. Which is interesting.
I suspect with Bitcoin, it doesn't feel like we're at the end of a cycle. If this was it, I would be horribly depressed because it just doesn't have any of the silly. Like there was some silliness, but not enough to really say like feels toppy to me relative to other cycles where there's so many warning signals. There's just been like a few where I'm like, this is just like par for the course for just like some tastes of mania. But I don't think we've kind of hit truly manic phase of the crypto Bitcoin cycle. And I don't know.
I feel like manic phase. Yeah. My prediction on manic phase is it has to be triggered by the U.S. government buying Bitcoin, because that's like when this like stampede occurs of like, oh God, we gotta buy it first, right? Like I feel like the stampedes were more maybe like at the retail level or like business level in 2017, 2021. I feel like the stampede has to start now at the nation state level, where it's like everyone's trying to buy bags before the other country does. That's kind of what I think is going to be the next super cycle, if there is a next super cycle. It's kind of like at that scale or whatever. It's like this weird race for like nation states trying to buy Bitcoin.
Yeah, Corbin, I would push back a bit on your take that the crypto market is not quite. There's not enough. There's not that much chaos. Doesn't feel that toppy. It feels really toppy to me. Okay,
it could be that I've just become numb over the years, and I'm just like, I don't know, just a couple $1 billion wiped off, no big deal, you know?
Yeah, but Bitcoin doesn't. That's what I think. It's really different now. more than last cycle, it seems really separated. And then, so my question, Andre, to you is, if we get that scenario where, nation states start buying and Bitcoin really rips, is that going to translate to the rest of the crypto market also ripping?
Well, yes, to a certain degree, just because everything's still pretty heavily tied, like, to Bitcoin, right? So a lot of your like trading and stuff is still, so it's like the whole rising tide lift all boats. But maybe it's just like way more muted these days because there's so many ways to like short coins and like do all your fancy like trading strategies and hedging and like all of this stuff. So I don't think the wider crypto market will get like as big of a pump from Bitcoin, just because the trading infrastructure is like so sophisticated now. Like before, it was like, well, you can only buy, I don't know, XRP with Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes up, XRP is going to go up.
Yeah,
it's just like very simple, right? It's not like that anymore. So I don't know, maybe I think differently, but that's kind of how I see it.
Any thoughts, Sal?
There's one thing that I'm fairly sure of, is if Bitcoin dumps anytime soon because of this Javier Milei stuff, so many people will blame Solana. So many people will start going pitchforks against the trenches.
Look what you guys did.
This was Vitalik's play all
My
along.
crypto!
Yeah. It's interesting. Corbin, you mentioned earlier that you dumped your remaining Solana position. I dumped some Solana this morning, but at the same time, Solana, like if you look at the chart, like you could argue that like now is a buy the dip opportunity on Solana.
Oh yeah, I'm probably an idiot, but that's fine. You know,
Yeah.
you know, it was an emotional trade.
Yeah,
I like Milei. You know, I feel like he's getting done dirty by a bunch of meme coin dirtbags, and I don't know, kind of seems a little raw. So yeah, Solana, you're partially to blame. Selling some of you, but I could be wrong there. Maybe this all bounces back. Maybe another meme coin comes out and it's even cooler, even more degenerate.
This is just a question like, I think this is definitely true, but like the people getting into crypto these days are much different than the people getting into crypto, 5-10 years earlier. Like sometimes I'm on crypto Twitter, I'm like, man, I feel really old. There's like these like guys like, yeah, I got in 2022. All I do is Solana, and I'm like a millionaire. And it's just like, what? Like, what? It's like, what are these people doing? It's like a whole different generation of like what they expect from crypto too. It's which I don't know how that affects the cycle, but yeah, go ahead. So,
I mean, I'm just listening to you and seeing all these screenshots of phantom wallets from crypto Twitter, and that's all it's going to be ever about. Like, oh, I showed someone's girlfriend my phantom wallet balance, and now she's my girlfriend.
All right.
Yeah, that's the other thing is like, is that kind of like bearish on YouTube? Like, I just kind of wonder if like, are the people that got in and were there any like new devs or like builders that got in 2021, 2022? Because like Hayden Davis, he's like 22. I assume this guy was like 40 or something. It's like, how did this 22-year-old like kid basically like get $100 million promoting meme coins? So it's like there's like almost like a weird generational gap there too.
Yeah, but you got to wonder how many of these guys are going to round trip their bag. You know, we've all done it at some point. You hold way too long and you think, I think there's still room left in this cycle. And then, 6 months later, you're like, I guess that was it. That was, here we are.
Yeah.
So
now I'm bag holding for the next 2 years.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a tough reality awakening for some of these the class of 2023, 2022. They're going to lose some money. They're going to make some money. I think, having a diversified portfolio does de-risk you of that in some ways, probably avoiding some of the pump and dump risk on stuff. But like, it's fun it's fine to have like a little fun money bag to keep playing with. You got to have hobbies, right? And crypto can't be all boring and just like, saving for generational wealth. Like, I don't know. Kids don't need that much money.
This will be really interesting if this is like the first, I don't know, divergent cycle, because we've never had like, I mean, maybe Bitcoin has done better overall compared to altcoins, but like they always moved in lockstep. So if this becomes the very first time that it's just like two separate markets, that would be just like a, I don't know, big shift, I guess, in like mentality in the crypto space. I feel like alt season will be like, I don't know if it'll be dead, but I feel like altcoiners are going to be very, very depressed. That's what I know.
Well, this is where I wonder if maybe some of those altcoin builders end up trying to build more on Bitcoin. And maybe this is a segue into the Bitcoin-Fi discussion, or the BTC-Fi side of things, where there are people trying to make Bitcoin more useful, and they're trying to make it, have a decentralized bridge to different L2s and side chains and, side systems. And maybe there's an angle here where people realize it just would be easier to keep it all on Bitcoin. Guys like Paul Stork have been talking about this for years with like Drive Chain and things like that. So there is a bit of a resurgence in the Bitcoin-Fi side of stuff. I wrote this op-ed recently about beware the Bitcoin yield and BTC-Fi LARPs. So there's a lot of garbage in that space. But despite that, I would say that it's still like hopeful in the sense that there's still builders trying to make it work. I think what they've done with BitVM and BitVM2 and trying to find different ways to safely lock up your UTXOs and being able to use those as a pegged asset on a layer 2. If they can find a nice, elegant way that's both secure and rug proof, then yeah, maybe you could be building some of these DeFi applications just on native Bitcoin, or using native Bitcoin as gas with these like L2s. I think we've all seen that Lightning has just been a complete failure. It's never really hit product market fit with average builders because it's such a pain in the ass to build on. Whereas deploying something on an EVM chain or a subnet, or at this point, even L2 commoditization has grown so much that any idiot with a token can launch an L2 for like $3,000. Maintaining it and actually finding TVL and bringing in like hype, that's a whole other thing. But like to actually get the fundamental, you got a couple nodes up and you got an L2, pretty easy to do for ETH now and some of these other subnets and supernets and things like that. But it does make me think that may cycle back into Bitcoin. And if the alts start getting cooked more and more as these cycles progress, that maybe the building starts happening back on Bitcoin. But that largely depends on, can we make a secure, easy to use, decentralized bridge that lets people do this safely and throw enough TVL at it where it's a sufficient honeypot and, let the hackers try to break it. And if they do, well, then that didn't work, But I think this is kind of the same thesis that I think a lot of people had with like Arbitrum and, even Polygon and stuff like that. It was like people wanted to touch them, they wanted to use them, but there was some skepticism until there were sufficient funds on those L2s to kind of warrant putting your money in. And I think we'll probably see the same thing with BTC-Fi projects and things like that. And yeah, I think right now there's still just a lot of LARPy BTC-Fi stuff where they aren't fully decentralized, or there's always these like concessions that are being made and kind of brushed off as not that big of a deal. But, we've seen this happen in various L2s and sidechains where, yeah, no, it's actually a big deal. And if you don't do it right, people get wrecked and it can go to zero and you can lose it all. So.
Can I ask perhaps a stupid question, but what is the point of BTC-Fi? Like, what's the use case? What are people trying to do there?
Pump Bitcoin and pump their bags. I think it's also like reducing some friction, right? It is, most people I suspect are still, maybe this cycle has proven me wrong, but the majority of people hear about Bitcoin before they hear about Solana and Ethereum and Sonic and some of these other things. So in the event that majority of people are coming into Bitcoin first, it's perhaps a more graceful onboarding experience to decentralized finance via BTC, then via trying to figure out another chain and swapping another chain and then learning all of these other things. Maybe not having to deal with additional gas tokens that maybe you don't want to hold. Like there's a lot of people using Polygon in our wallet. They're not necessarily Polygon holders. So you now need to educate users. Okay, swap from Bitcoin into USDT on Polygon. Great. Low fee chain. Enjoy. Oh shit, your USDT, can't really move it until you get Polygon. So got to get some Polygon in order to use that as the gas to send on that chain. So I think if you can reduce some of those steps, it may make it somewhat more easy. And then I think in addition to that, you're sort of like offering Bitcoin holders potential yield opportunities on their Bitcoin, which is, I think, the big thing that Ethereum and DeFi have kind of offered is, Ethereum has native staking, so that's great. But then you can also deploy your wrapped ETH into LPs and into lending borrowing protocols, and then also earn on top of that. Where right now, for the average Bitcoiner, only thing you can do is hodl, which is incredibly boring and incredibly it's fine, I guess, if you just want like a spot position on Bitcoin. But if you want to do leveraged positions, you want access to some of the yield based on the network activity that's occurring on Bitcoin, then you need a layer that lets you do more than just basic op script, covenants and stuff like that. Yeah.
So who's the furthest along these days? Do you know, Corbin, or what's like? Is one of these guys the leader right now?
Maybe Graham, if you want to pull up, is it Bitcoin Layers? Is that the website? Yeah, bitcoinlayers.org. That's my favorite website right now for tracking the entire network of these different layer 2s and side chains. And I think they recently renamed the non-native L2s to side systems. But you'll see that they've got currently, they label 2 as native L2s, which is Lightning Network and Mercury Layer. And then inside systems, they've got everything else from like BitLayer, Core, Merlin, Build on Bitcoin, Stacks. I don't know where Rootstock. Oh, there's Rootstock as well. I guess they're saying Rootstock is a side system. But then they've also got, Alt L1s where, you can hold Bitcoin on Avalanche and Polygon and things like that. So I think the vibe here is that a lot of the side systems want to become native, but are not yet native. They don't yet, say, incorporate like native bridging, or they're not using the BitVM tech yet because it's still in development and there's still a little bit of work being done. But we've seen stuff from, we had a demo from is it Strata BTC recently, and it seems like they're doing some cool stuff with ZK rollups on Bitcoin. We've talked to the Babylon team, we've talked to the Core team, but it's all kind of like, it's very fragmented, and I don't know if there's like one single home run yet. They're all kind of batting singles as far as I can tell at the moment. But the fact that there's this many different projects trying to do it does make me think one or two of them are going to get it right, but it might take a little while.
Yeah.
So it seems like Merlin.
I saw in there that Barachain, which just launched, has more Bitcoin on it, wrapped Bitcoin on it, than Solana. That was interesting. All right. Let's move on. We got 10 minutes left. Let's get into a little grab bag of topics here. We had a post on X from Ross Ulbricht, who, of course, was just pardoned after spending, I think it's 11 years in jail for setting up the Silk Road, not doing anything violent. He posted in solidarity with Roger Ver, who is, of course, facing 109 years for alleged tax evasion, although the authorities will not tell him how much he owes. So,
actually, I think that 109 is also tied to mail fraud.
Right.
Yeah, so I think it's three charges of mail fraud because they claim they didn't receive the first mail from him, and then he had to send a couple updates, and they're saying every time he used the U.S. Postal Service to submit his paperwork that they claim is not complete, therefore fraudulent. Each of those is is an extra like 40 years or something like that. So they're throwing some pretty silly stuff at this guy. I've known Roger for years. He's a good man. Probably deserves to be free. Stuck in Spain. I think it'd be great to see the Doge team maybe take a peek at some of the DOJ swamp, maybe the IRS swamp, maybe some more dirt gets dug up on kind of how that case was pretty clearly a lawfare attack against crypto. And I really genuinely believe that this was all part of the choke point 2.0 with Elizabeth Warren and the anti-crypto goons under Biden targeting crypto influencers. And what bigger influencer to get than Bitcoin Jesus himself, the guy who onboarded hundreds of millions of people to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, earliest investor in almost every major crypto or exchange that you can think of. He's got his fingers in. And if you want a trophy for your wall of collections as a DOJ or IRS person, then what better person to hang on your wall than Bitcoin Jesus? So some unfair lawfare happening there. The U.S. is not clean yet, but I'm still optimistic that the Department of Government Efficiency and the nerds there are going to probably drum up some interesting stuff. So I think we're going to hear more from this story, over the year as well.
Nice. Every time I see one of these mentions of Roger Ver, these threads, there's always a few statists in the replies. That guy deserves to go to jail, man. He's a Bitcoin casher. Like, okay. It's sad.
The armchair warriors in crypto are pretty sad. I think especially, you got these guys that it's primarily the people that were around during the 2017, 2018 like block size wars. I think they've kind of got the crazy ex-girlfriend vibe where they can't let her go, they can't let her go. So they still have to call her a B word, to all their friends, and just everyone's like, why are you still talking about her? Like, why do you care this much? Didn't you guys break up like 10 years ago? What's the deal? You're like, yeah, she was mean to me. Took my dog. Okay.
Yep. All right. All right. Last few minutes of the show here. Does anyone have any show and tell? Anything they'd like to bring up before we wrap it up?
I'm curious on this quantum chip. I'm too dumb about quantum computing to understand the implications related to how this may affect Bitcoin and crypto. So, Andre, you're probably the highest IQ in engineering here. Is Bitcoin going to zero because of a quantum chip?
So this is the one from like Microsoft, right?
Yeah, it's gold and shiny. It looked cool.
Well, I haven't actually had the chance to look into it too much. So the whole like quantum computing is something I've never really understood with like Bitcoin or like in general. Just like if you can break that encryption, there's like so many like other problems that you have to worry about, and then they'll probably actually have to like find a way to, like security is always attack and defense, right? So if there's an attack that can break the encryption, then you go on defense and you have to like change the encryption algorithm, or you have to fork and do something else. So I'm like, I've never been super worried about the quantum side of things. I don't know if there's like something new with this Microsoft one that would be interesting, but like that's always been my take on like quantum breaking Bitcoin. Yeah.
Well, people always
just
say
reading
that,
it from a. Yeah, sorry, Graham.
Yeah.
No, just reading it from a PR perspective.
Okay, I'm going. People always say that if the quantum thing advances, it'll be a case of Bitcoin holders just have to like upgrade something. But the issue, I believe, is that there's a bunch of coins out there like Satoshi's coins where probably nobody can access them. Those could be hacked. The keys to those could be hacked, and then you would flood the supply, flood the network with those new tokens, and that would dump things. I think that's
but it's like one of those things where it's like, are you worried about a meteor hitting you? Like it's like so. I don't know, like doomsday-esque, where it's like, yep, then my Bitcoin holdings probably do go to zero, to be honest. But it's like I get spent by like waking hours, I guess, like thinking about that. That's how I view those like existential threats, I guess.
Yeah, and
it's Y2K all over again.
Yeah, if quantum computing can do that to Bitcoin, like what could it do to the rest of the financial system?
Crash the airplanes, man. Don't get on flights.
That Delta one. Whew.
Yeah, how did that end upside down? That was crazy. Everyone's getting 30 grand. So,
did they find out who the pilots were, or are they intentionally not releasing the names because they might know it was some chicks?
I think the memes have an idea of who the pilots were, but I don't know if anything's been confirmed.
In all of my telegrams, everyone seems to be convinced it was a female piloted flight, and that's why they're not exactly rushing the names out. But I don't know for sure.
They were unmanned flights, gents.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Well,
is Jack Dorsey Satoshi? Did you guys see that?
Oh yeah, that was interesting.
What's your take?
Is Jack Dorsey Satoshi? Not a chance.
No, zero. Satoshi's dead.
Yeah. I like the theory that he's hanging around, just observing, but I think highly likely he's not around. But, have you guys ever seen that Jack Dorsey GIF? Maybe it's not a GIF, maybe it's a video where he's like in front of a fire. He's kind of like doing his like Burning Man thing. And he's like slapping his nuts in front of the fire and like, it's the coolest thing. It's like the weirdest GIF ever, but it's like Jack Dorsey kind of based. He seems kind of like a fun guy to probably hang with. So I don't know. If there was a Satoshi, a bearded nut slapping Jack Dorsey Satoshi is kind of like, in my opinion, way cooler than like an Adam back Satoshi. But
what is he doing these days? Is he still doing Bitcoin stuff, or
he's doing some Noster stuff? He's doing a lot of stuff with that. And what was he doing? Square and the block? Is that right? Yeah.
I think he's probably not doing much there. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel I feel like Jack's probably not exactly a fan of people assuming he's Satoshi. There's probably some some security implications when people start thinking you're Satoshi. We're like, I don't think that, guys. I'm not.
Yeah. All right. Be safe out there, everyone. Not your keys, not your coins. Thanks for joining in on Token Narratives with Bitcoin.com. We'll see you next week.
Happy weekend. See ya.